So one of the big misconceptions about velocity training is that it's only about getting big and strong in the sagittal plane. It's only about squats, deadlift, bench press, rows. All of this stuff is important, plays a key role. But when we're talking about pitching, it's also taking place in the transverse plane. So it's a very rotational movement. And it's taking place in the frontal plane. So it's a lateral movement as well. So we're going to talk about hip abduction today. We're going to be focusing on what's called the glute medius, so the outer part of your hip, and its role in end range hip abduction. So as you're driving down the mound, being strong from here to here. That's going to be something that you're not going to train just by doing squats and deadlifts. So this is an important part of, we'll use this as a hip warm-up, or we'll also use it as kind of a superset or a finisher in our lower body workouts. So let's get to it. For the starting position, you're going to lay straight on your side, use that bottom arm for stability on your head, and we're trying to keep at least a foot in between both legs at all times, both legs straight, and the most important cue here is keeping the level of the toe below the heel at all times. So a slight internal rotation of this bottom leg versus as soon as you start to let the toe creep above the level of the heel, you start shifting the emphasis of the exercise towards the hip flexor. We want the emphasis on the glute med. So keeping a foot in between at all times. This is a 7-position series. You're going to do it back to back to back, so without stopping. As part of a warm-up, you're going to want to do about 8 to 10 reps on each exercise. As part of a strengthening series, it's working up towards 15 to 20 reps on each exercise. You're going to feel a pretty good burn. So first position is straight up and down. We're going to go 10 of these, then it's straight forward. Whatever available hip range you have, you can use that top arm for stability here and back to the midline. So this is position 2. You're going to go 10 of these. Position 3 is start at the midline and go straight into hip extension as far as you can, back to the midline. So 10 of those. Position 4 is straight forward and straight back, all in one. So we're tracing the full hip flexion, hip extension that you have and that you can control. 10 of those. Position 5 is clockwise circles. Again, we're tracing as big of circles as we can control, not little tiny circles. Position 6 is counterclockwise circles. As we're going through this, we're trying not to get that motion from our spine. So we're trying to keep this as still as possible and getting that true ball and socket movement from the hip itself. And then position 7 is bicycles. So going from hip extension, adding in knee flexion, and tracing big circles forward. That's position number 7.